Is there?
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending to wherever you are in the world right now as you are watching me. My name is Joseph Omenyo, or Pastor Joseph. I'm speaking from Texas, United States of America. And today I want us to discuss briefly about the socioeconomic impact, possible socioeconomic impact of coronavirus pandemic in Africa, with particular focus on Zimbabwe and the Democratic Republic of Congo. I've chosen these two countries because of my background. My country of origin is Democratic Republic of Congo, or DRC. And that's where I was born, that's where I grew up, that's where I am connected to. But also I'll speak about Zimbabwe because when there was war in my country, I moved to Zimbabwe in 1997, and I lived there for 20 years. All my children were born in Zimbabwe, in Pararinyato Hospital, that Buyane and maternity, and others were born at Harare Hospital. And I did my studies in Zimbabwe. And maybe that's where we start. I'm a holder of an executive master's degree in peace and governance from Africa University, and Masters of Arts in leadership and management from the University of Zimbabwe, as well as the Bachelor of Science in Rural and Urban Planning at the University of Zimbabwe. I'm currently completing my doctorate degree at the University of Texas University of Theology here in the United States of America. So I just want to share briefly about what we are seeing in terms of the possible impact that the coronavirus-19 pandemic is bringing to Africa and the world at large. Because we've seen in this country, United States of America, which is the superpower economically in the world, has responded to the pandemic in a more aggressive and effective way. And we are very pleased today from April 27 to date, the governor of this state of Texas has given a green light to different businesses to operate, and also even consider the church as one of the essential services. And from that date of April 27, he gave permission for the church to regard and continue their activities. However, I do understand that there's a serious challenge right now in many African countries where many policies were put in place and people were asked to stay home, and most people are not going to work. But here in America, people have been going to work. People are doing their different activities following at the same time following all health prescriptions or guidelines, including the social distancing and so forth. This is a big economy, but we are concerned with what is taking place in other countries such as Zimbabwe and Democratic Republic of Congo. Right now, as we are aware, people are locked down in Zimbabwe and also in Congo. Let me start with one country and try to do an analysis, giving the reason why we are discussing this topic right now. Zimbabwe has been experiencing socioeconomic challenges since the implementation of fast-track land reform in 2000. Up to date, for the past 20 years, the economic situation of Zimbabwe has not been good. And many people have suffered a lot of challenges in terms of meeting their basic need. With the coming of coronavirus, before coronavirus, Zimbabwe experienced a lot of disease and sicknesses just like any other countries. We can mention cholera, we can mention HIV and AIDS, which affected the entire world, including Zimbabwe. But all these diseases, when they come, the government took very proactive actions, and they were very successful, but they never closed people inside doors. People died. Even today, people are dying of AIDS. Now with coronavirus, people are at home doing nothing. Combis or these other people in the informal sector have been prohibited from doing their activities. And looking at the situation of Zimbabwe, where I live for the past 20 years, I'm looking at this woman who live on selling tomatoes and sending her children to school because of selling tomatoes on the street, where they sell their tomatoes in the evening, and before the end of the evening, they pass through a shopping mall or a supermarket to buy cooking oil and meal for their children, to cook for them for that night. What is happening to these women now that they're in home? They can't go and sell their tomatoes. What about the combi drivers? There were people who were this industry of combis, where the owner is getting income every day to survive, and the driver will get something, the conductor will get something, and also the windy will get something at the end of the day. But all these things are not there. How are these people surviving? I'm just imagining myself. How are all these people surviving? Yesterday, I had a discussion with one of key pastors in Zimbabwe, explaining to me how the impact of coronavirus, the social impact. There are families that are reported now they are surviving on fruit, avocado. They have an avocado tree at their place. Now they are surviving on that. At least this one, they've got an avocado tree. What about those who don't have? So now people, while we are running away from coronavirus, other people are dying in their home because of hunger. So this is a very challenging situation. So my advice today, especially for the Zimbabwe government, and I'm speaking to the head of state and government, and also to government ministers, to look at these situations seriously, because we may look at the simple things, but it has a very serious, severe economic and social impact. We may think that keeping people in home is the best thing, but at the end of the day, we are causing more problem and challenging to people than what we may think. With this in mind, I would like to advise our governments, not only in Zimbabwe. Let's look at the example of Tanzania. The government of Tanzania did not stop people from going to work, did not stop people from going to church. But when you go to Tanzania, people are living, no one, although people are dying, people have been dying all along, people have been dying of AIDS, people have been dying of leprosy, people have been dying of several different diseases, cancer and so on. Why should we continue closing people inside homes? My advice is to ask Mr. President, Zimbabwe President, and the government to please consider to open, because the economic and social impact will be very severe, and now is already severe because people are dying of hunger, people are dying of disease and other problems which are not related to this pandemic. And let me say this, according to the Bible, we should not fear what kills the body. Let's fear what kills the body and the spirit. And with this in mind, I would love to encourage our governments, not only in Zimbabwe, but also in the Democratic Republic of Congo and other countries in Africa, to please open the doors for people to go back to work, because our economies in Africa has been already affected for several years. Let me look at the DRC also. Congo has been at war for many years. According to well-researched information, there are more than 12 million people who have been killed because of war in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Congo has experienced all different types of disease and sicknesses, including Ebola, cholera, and so forth and so on. And now there are provinces that have never had even one single case of coronavirus pandemic. But all these people are still asked to stay. The schools are closed. This country has experienced a lot of challenge, despite it being one of the richest countries potentially. But why should we continue to close the doors? when we know that in other provinces there's not even any disease of that kind. My advice to our Congolese president is that, please, Mr. President Tshisekedi, can you open the door for the people, especially in the provinces where there's no any case of those diseases, for students to go back to school. There's no need to close school. Allow the student to go back to school, or student to learn online. Here in the US, our children, or many children, have gone to school, have been attending school online, but I know technology in Africa may not allow children to go to learn online. But in those provinces where there's not even single case, why should you close school? People have suffered. We have many people who cannot write, who cannot write their own names because of the problem of school in Congo. It's our advice to the president of the Democratic Republic of Congo to please consider this serious, because the impact is severe. People have been affected by war, people have been affected by all these different diseases before, and this is not different. Disease is just disease. Yes, let's keep our border closed, and let's keep protecting people by following all the guidelines that are given by different health specialists. But at the same time, it's important to allow people to go back to work and people to go to school. This is my advice from Joseph Omenyo Wanyachi in Texas, United States of America. Thank you.